Welcome to Monday Night Live, the weekly training that guides professionals to financial prosperity. Join our community and let's start building your wealth.
Let's dig into business planning. So when Gary asked me to teach this, I really thought about it, and I am not interested in business planning, like how many houses exactly do you need to sell to hit your monthly nugget? Like, do your numbers, right? So I want to dig into a different component of business planning. And I want to dig into business planning that pisses off the competition. That's specifically what I want to dig into. So this is going to be business planning to piss off the competition. So let's just start off with this. I want to open it up. It's a new year. We are 6 days in. How are you guys doing? Did you set goals? Did you set resolutions? Are you tracking forward for those? Or are you already hit like, hell no, I'm not doing anything? I just want to open it up. So talk to me, y'all. Where are you guys?
One of the things that I've seen, this is Michael, one of the things that I've seen in past goal planning, the VGAP, is trying to narrow it down. The brainstorming generates a lot of ideas, and then I get a little bit lost just having too much. And I know Gary stresses that we shouldn't try to do too much, like with our marketing, maybe 3 campaigns. Maybe during this discussion later on, we can talk about how to narrow things down or keep things in order.
Oh, I like that. I really like that. And my first year that I did Gary's specific method of business planning, he said set 1, 2, or 3 goals. That's it. And I decided, yeah, no, I set 5. And he's like, you're not going to hit them. And he said, I really strongly suggest for you, Gina, 1. I was like, no, I'm doing 5. And I did not hit him. So I agree with you. It does need to be kept down to 1, 2, or 3 goals, and probably closer to 1 or 2. So, all right. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Where else are you guys with this? Has anyone made resolutions and already blown them out of the park where they're like, yeah, I botched that one already?
Well, I did. I made several, and I haven't done them yet. So I don't know why I've got to just kick myself in the tush and get going.
Awesome. We're going to talk about that one again today too. And you just reminded me, I have one that I have to do today, the part of what I set also. So thank you for the reminder, Kay. Massive thank you for that. All right. Anyone else have anything they want to add into where they are with this year so far, 6 days in? Going once, going twice. All right, let's dig in. So, all right. So most business planning starts off with how much money do you need to make, and then figuring out how much the price point is of your house, how much you have to pay the broker, how much goes here, how much goes there, your expenses and everything. And it gets you down to, you get this much per transaction. And then you need to do, name a number, it doesn't matter, 18 transactions this year, 36 transactions this year, whatever that number is. I am a firm believer, we're going to go through 3 components of this. The first thing is, obviously, is track your numbers. You need to know what your numbers are. But as you're setting your goal for the year, I want you to think bigger, because I want you to take into consideration not just what your monthly nugget is, but I also want you to think about things like, am I paying for my kids for college? Do I have enough money if the dog has a horrendous vet bill? Do I have enough money if something happens to my roof? Do I have enough money if, God forbid, my wife or I or my husband or I get really, really, really sick and my income goes down for an extended period of time? Do I have enough to cover those things? So if your number, let's say, is 24 houses a year and that covers your monthly nugget, great. But does it really cover everything? Does it cover investing? Does it cover setting aside money for your retirement? Does it cover whatever those things are? So I want you to think bigger as you're planning and tracking out your numbers. But I'm not going to go through actually tracking out your numbers. You guys can do the math. It's simple math. Sit down and kind of figure it out. But figure out on the bigger side of what it is that you need. We don't typically think that way. We think my monthly nugget is, $8,000 a month, and that's what my expenses are. And that means that I need to sell, 1 house, 2 houses a month, and that's it. I want to encourage you to think a little bit bigger than that. And here's the thing with setting your goals. We massively overestimate what we can do in 1 year and massively underestimate what we can do in 10 years. And if you don't believe me, I'm going to ask you this. Where were you in your head? Think, where were you last year compared to this year? How different does that look? I mean, maybe it looks night and day different, but for most people, it doesn't look that much different. And then where were you at the beginning of 2015? And what did that look like? So for me in the beginning of 2015, and anybody can jump in here anytime they want to, for me in the beginning of 2015, I had moved to the Bay Area. I'd just taken over a new job, a KW team leader role out there, which I did for about 4.5 years. I hadn't opened up my coaching company. I hadn't opened up my other LLCs. I hadn't gone completely independent on my own without, being under a brokerage or anything like that. I hadn't built my speaking career out. I hadn't built any of that stuff out. But if you look at where I was last year, it's not all that dissimilar for where I am right now. So as you're setting your goals, we don't think out 1 year, 5 year, 10 years. And when we do, we seriously underestimate that. And then we think, well, I can get these 10 things done this year. No, you can't. Maybe you can, but no, you can't. I can't. I know I can't. I have to set my stuff very, very, very simple. Also, as you're setting your goals, one tiny change can set you up for a ton of changes as you're making changes in your life. So for instance, I wanted to get back into working out again. And that was something that I really wanted to get back into my life. And I was in really bad shape. I had been in a car wreck. I could barely walk. Everything was painful. It sucked. And so I set up to just go every single time I wanted a cup of coffee. I said I would do 10 squats before my cup of coffee. It was tiny. It was a little tiny change. Although I drink a lot of coffee. So I tied my tiny change to something else, but I made one tiny change in my life. That tiny change in my life over time is now doing heavy duty weightlifting twice a week. I just was tested out for that national test that they can do that you probably took when you were a kid in high school, where they find out how many push-ups you can do in a minute and all that. And I ran elite across every single thing except for 2 categories, which really pissed me off because one of them was rowing and I was only 2 things short from it. So you don't know where that tiny little change is going to take you. Pick that simple little change and then just continue on with that. So track your numbers, make sure that you're thinking bigger than you think you need for whatever your monthly nugget is to be able to cover life's unexpected things. So to cover those things as well. We overestimate what we can do in 1 year. We massively underestimate what we can do in 10 years. And then once you pick your goal, whatever the thing is that you really want to go for, sort of the big part of it, not the little components of it. Little components of it, get an accountability partner if you want. I've got 2 accountability. I've got a call on Monday mornings that I do with 2 people that are here local, right here in town. And then I have another one with Nick, my Cleveland guy, that I do on Fridays. So one is on my speaking career and the other one is on my real estate. And those 2 accountability partners, we deal with what we need to do that week. What do we need to do this week? What do I need? What am I committing to this week that I have to get done? Have to. But the big, huge goal, I don't share that one. And here's why. Studies show that when you take on something new and make steps towards accomplishing it, you get this burst of endorphins. And every single time you work towards that big, huge thing, like climbing a big, huge mountain, and every time you make steps towards that goal that's out of your reach to do easily, you continue to release endorphins, but you never release as many endorphins as you do at that very beginning, unless you're tweaking that goal as you're going along. So you want to get the endorphin release, but you want to brain hack your brain to continue releasing endorphins. Now, here's where this comes in with not talking to another person about it. If I have a big goal, I'm going to climb Mount Everest. By the way, I'm never going to climb Mount Everest. But if I have a big goal that I'm going to climb Mount Everest and I tell all of you about it, I release massive endorphins because your brain doesn't know the difference between actually doing the goal and just visualizing it or talking about it or having that conversation. Brain does not know the difference. Same endorphins, same chemicals release. So my biggest burst of endorphins is talking to you instead of actually taking the steps towards, buying the equipment, figuring out how much money I need to do, figuring out what the Sherpa situation is, all those kinds of things. So you want to brain hack. So save your big goals, keep them quiet, but do get accountability partners for the little components of it. So my accountability partner, my 2 ladies that I have this morning, one of them is I'm building an app out on Pickaxe. And so that's my thing. I'm like, that has to get done before tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, period. But the big goal, that one they don't know. The little components of it, we share that. So do have an accountability partner if you're wired that way, but not the big, huge goal. Be real quiet on that one. And then, Kay, you said that you haven't done anything yet and you kind of blew it. So I made a mini goal that I would write a card a day, and I would send out a card of some sort to somebody for the entire year, one per day. And then I only made two goals. The other goal was that if I wasn't working out, I would walk. So I either had to work out that day or take a walk, either one of them, because I want to add in walking to my exercise that I do. And Saturday, I forgot to walk. I just flat out forgot to do it. What was Saturday, the 4th? Yeah, Saturday was the 4th. So the 4th day in of my New Year's resolution, completely botched it. And Saturday night, I was sitting there and I was like, by now it's late and I'm cozied up and getting ready to go to bed. And I'm like, gonna take a walk. I was like, crap. And then my stupid brain started going, well, you botched that. I guess you're gonna have to botch it for the entire year. I was like, wait, time out. Just because I didn't do it one day doesn't mean I throw the whole entire thing away, right? It means that the next day I went out and took a walk. Today I exercised, so I don't have to take a walk today. I had to get back on the horse. So if you find yourself off the horse, get back on the horse. Speaking of getting off the horse and back on the horse, do you guys know what this Friday is? Friday the 10th. Does anyone have any clue what that is? What's special about Friday the 10th?
That's the day by which people have given up on their New Year's resolutions.
Bam, Joel. Thank you. It's National Quitters Day. National Quitters Day is the second Friday of the new year. This year happens to fall on the 10th. 80% of people will have given up on their New Year's resolutions by January 10th. That's crazy. January 10th. Do you guys have any clue? Isn't that sad? Do you guys have any clue what percentage of people actually do make it through the year and hold on to the resolution and actually do that resolution for the entire year? Does anyone have any idea what percentage that is? 2? Oh, PF, good guess. 4? You guys are really good. 2 plus 4. So you two put it together and you guys got it. It's 6%. 6% will actually accomplish their goals. That's it. That's it. So I want to make sure that you guys are in the 6%. So the very first thing when you're looking at this is I want you to go through and just do the logic, because logic makes us think. Okay, so the logic is knowing your numbers, track them. So track the things that you're keeping track of. Hang on. I switched over this year back to paper, and I switched over to paper because, again, studies show that when we write things down, it lodges in our brain in a different way because we've been doing paper for, at least 1,000 years. It logs in your brain a different way than doing this does. It just does. So if you want to really get something down into your brain and then down into your heart, you write it down, right? So I have this planner. Get any planner. I don't care, but I am a firm believer in having a planner because it has my tracker, a habit tracker on it. And I really like that. Okay, you got your hand up, sweetie. What do you got?
Well, one of the things that I found, and I did this, when I was doing my annual planning, and I looked at my goals and what I had accomplished and I didn't. And it's like I accomplished partial goals, but I didn't complete the number that I had set out. And I feel like I'm out of cycle, like I'm behind, but I'm taking steps toward my goal. And I don't know, it's like when I don't meet it, I feel like I'm giving my brain negative feedback instead of the positive feedback. I don't know if you have any ideas on that.
So let me ask you this. That's a really good one. Can you control exactly how much money you make, like the exact dollar amount in our industry? No.
No.
What can you control?
What I do every day.
Bingo. Okay. Can you hit that?
Yes.
Okay. I can't control how many speaking gigs I actually get. I'm going to relate my speaking into the real estate thing. I can't control it. I can flip and control how many people I talk to. I can absolutely control that. I can control my skills. I can control getting better at negotiation and getting better at the ask. And I can practice those things. but I cannot control how many people will actually bite. But if I track my numbers, then I know that for every 5 conversations, I will get a bite that goes into a warmer pile. And for every time I've got the warmer pile, I need a dozen of those, and then one of those will hit, or whatever the numbers happen to be. But I can't track, all I can track is my daily. So I'm going to relate it back into when I sold real estate. When I sold real estate, I did 20 two-way conversations a day. And a two-way conversation for me was on the phone. But even if they said, I hate your guts, never talk to me again, that's a conversation. It's not a great conversation, but it's a conversation. I can control that. I can't control who's going to say yes. Usually 20 conversations got me 1 yes, but this is over time of talking to them every single month. Every single month, hey, you ready to list yet? No, cool, call you next month. That I can't control. And since I knew my numbers, and my numbers were that I wanted to list 10 houses a month, I knew it took me 20 contacts per day. That's what it took for me to be able to list my 10 houses. I can control that. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, when you look back over where you were last year to this year, did you make progress?
Yes.
Okay. Then between that and knowing your numbers, if you know your numbers and your number is, let's say you want to close 3 deals a month, whatever your number is, doesn't matter what it is, and you have tracked and know your numbers, then you'll know, and you know your lead measure that you track, not the leg measure, not I closed 3 deals, but the lead measure, I made 20 calls, or whatever form of lead generation it is that you guys do, then that you can control. And if you know your numbers, you'll know, well, I need to get this many to hit that. So if I made my 20 calls and I didn't get an appointment out of it, because usually I could get 4 appointments per week out of that. But if I made my 20 calls and I didn't get any appointments, I just relaxed in it because I did my job and I knew tomorrow I'd probably get 2. And it always worked out that I got 4 per week. It just did because I knew my numbers. So control what you can control. And then I just heard this the other day. Someone said, my brain keeps on reminding me of this horrible thing, and I don't want to be reminded of it anymore. So I finally just told my brain, look, you don't get to talk to me that way anymore. If what you're telling me is not helpful, don't want to hear it. And so when the brain would remind him he made a mistake and got into a really bad accident, and so his brain would remind him, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done that. He was like, is that helpful? And he said, eventually it shut his brain down. Hang on, quieted his brain on that subject. It didn't shut his brain down, but it quieted it down. I really like that because your brain is not you. So if it's not helpful, I don't want to hear it. You got to be helpful. You got to be doing some good here for me. So Saturday, I blew it, back on track again. Sunday walked, Monday worked out. If you blow a day, you don't throw the whole thing out. You get back on it and go. At the end of the year, if I walk, what it would be 264 days instead of 265 days, I think I'm kind of okay with that. That's about 214 days more than I would have walked the last year. And I'm okay with that. All right. So the first thing is track your numbers. You're going to do business planning, know your numbers, track your numbers. All right. Second thing, have you ever had somebody come up to you and tell you, you're never going to make it? You're not going to be able to do that. You can't do it. Have you experienced that? Have you experienced it to where it's pissed you off and then you've gone and done the thing? Bam. Okay, me too. Second thing, first one's logic. So know your numbers and track your numbers. Second one's emotion. Those people have pissed me off, right? And so what this one is, this is a technique called pick your enemies. So you pick 5 enemies, maybe one in a real estate world, one in a health world, one in a relationship world. And these, I'm not saying go pick people that you hate, right? I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying pick people that emotionally motivate you. So when I was selling real estate at our office, we had about 160 agents, and the number 1 agent was Jonathan Harper. He's a great guy. I love Jonathan Harper. He has helped me immensely. He was my person I wanted to take down. And I don't want to take him down because I don't like him. I really liked him. But Jonathan was the number 1 agent. And Jonathan, we released how many listings people had active every single month. That's one of the things our office tracked. And Jonathan had 100 to 150 active listings every single month, right? He's huge. He was the #2 REO agent in the entire nation, bar any company, and he happened to be in our office. I didn't know any of that. All I knew was I was a fairly new agent. It was the very beginning of my 3rd year. Is Jonathan Harper has over 100 listings. That means Gina Hanson somehow can get to over 100 listings. And I would look at the list, 160 agents, and I'm somewhere down in the bottom, 20% or something. I mean, I was way down there. I think I had 3. And all I do was look at the person above me. Okay, they have 5 active listings. So what do I have to do to get, or the next jump? What do I have to do to make sure I have 5? And then I would make sure that month that I had at least 5. And then the following month, what do I have to do to make sure that I've got 7? 7 is the next number I need to hit. 9, 10, 12, 15, 18, 30, etc. So I don't hate him. I never have hated him. He and I've had great conversations. He helped me decide to go expired listings, not REO. It was literally because of sitting down with Jonathan over lunch and pouring into his business. And he didn't really even know me. And I wasn't loud about it either. I quietly watched the numbers and decided to take his butt down. Now, I never did take him down, right? I got to 85 active listings, and then I accepted a position as a TL cross country out in Virginia, which is actually how I met Gary. But the point of it is I have had people in my life that have pissed me off. And I've had other people that I just look at their lives and go, I don't want to live my life like you are. I don't really like that. So I'm going to make sure that I don't do that. Or I think I can do it because you can do it. And if you can do it, I can do it too. All of them work on an emotional level. It doesn't matter which one you go after, but you pick your enemies. So pick your 5 people that you might even love the socks off of them. Pick your 5 people. And if the goal, if I would have hit the 150 for Jonathan Harper, and that would have been the thing, and I hit it, then Jonathan is no longer my target anymore. I need to pick a new one. So think of the 5 different arenas of your life that you want change to make a change in, or maybe it's the 5 components of your business. Maybe you want to list like this person and you want to do marketing like that one. Pick your 5 people, and once you accomplish it, they go off the list. They did their job. Pick another one. So that was 2009 when I met Jonathan Harper. And I really was starting to understand this concept of the fact that I'm really competitive and I like another person to compete with. I'm really competitive. Matter of fact, when I went to go work out, not yesterday, but the Friday, when I went to work out Friday, my husband works out with me now. The trainer that was with us, she put me on this other team because she's like, you're competitive. She goes, and I thought that you were competitive because, oh my God, you're the most competitive person I know. And inside I'm like, yes, right? So it's how I'm wired. I'm wired that way. In 2014, when I took the role of being the team leader out in San Francisco Bay Area, one of the other office managers on my first or second day there, he didn't even know me. He just came up to me out of the blue and he's like, you're never going to make it. The person before you couldn't make it, and the person before them couldn't make it. The matter of fact, the last 2 team leaders had only been 1 year in the role, and both of them had been let go or left or wherever that situation was. And he's like, if she couldn't make it, she was better than you. You'll never make it. And even though we bantered back and forth, inside I was like, thank you. Because now I know that I have you up against me, and I will make sure that I take you down. Right? So pick your enemies. All right. So pick your enemies, have your 5, choose them very, very carefully. If you accomplish and hit those goals, go put another person in that place. So the first one's logic. I want you to know your numbers and track them and know what you need to go after. And the second one's emotion, because emotion will make you act. Emotion will drive you when you don't want to be. It was emotion after Saturday that, because I have a person for the physical health thing, that made me go, oh, hell no, I'm not throwing that away. I'm not throwing away because I didn't hit it one day. I'm going after this again. So emotion will keep you moving forward, keep you in act. All right. Third one I want to dig into. So some of you may know or may have known Rick Jiha, who I used to work with in San Francisco. He was a big agent in EXP, spoke on stage a lot, was also a big agent in Keller Williams. That's how I met him. At the time that I had met him, gosh, 07, I think is when I met him. He owned 17 offices at that time, all in the San Francisco Bay Area. Just an amazing guy. And eventually I ended up working for him. And so it's 2014 or 15 or whatever. And Rick was he was just a really, really amazing human being with these dancing eyes, right? And he was teasing and fun and light and just a great guy. I really enjoyed his company. I was really grateful when I got the opportunity to take over one of his offices and work for him. And so he came to my office one time and he shut the door, and the dancing eyes weren't. They were very, very serious. And he looked at me and he goes, "Do you have integrity?" And I was like, yes. And he goes, "Do you?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do. Like if I say I'm going to come in early, I do it. If I say I'm staying late, I do it. If I promise one of the agents I'm going to do something, I do it. Yes, I have integrity." And he goes, "Uh-huh. With yourself?" Okay. If you say that you're going to start exercising, do you? And if you say you're not going to reach for the donut, don't you? Like, do you have integrity with yourself? And at the time, I was massively overweight, and it was clear I did not have integrity with myself. And it really like hit me down to the core. And this is 10 years ago, closer to 11 now, years ago that he did that. And I would love to tell you that on that day, I changed my life and I turned my life around. But no, I did not. I taught on it. I've told a lot of people the concept, but I did not make the change in my own life. I didn't do it. And it's been bouncing around in my head for 10 flipping years. Do you have integrity with yourself? Gina Hanson. You say you're going to do something. Do you do it? And here's what really goes on in my world, used to go on in my world actually, is this thing that I have affectionately termed a thinking loop. So here's what a thinking loop is and how it works. So I want to go build this amazing seminar class training thing, whatever. And I want to teach on this subject. Well, that's really cool. And that's a cool idea. So what you should probably do, this is my brain, what you should probably do is you should probably read up on that. You should probably get some more knowledge. All right. So I get a book and I read it, and it's a really good book and it's amazing. And I learn all kinds of stuff. And then a logical person would say, "Oh, hey, she wanted to do this and she didn't have the information. So she got the information and then she went and did it." Nope. Nope. Because the thinking loop kicks in and it says, "God, it was a really good book." But, probably other people have read the book. And so probably everybody else knows that information too. So I should probably read another book. And then I pick up another book and I read that. And then I still don't implement. And people who know me are like, "You implement all the time." But there's a lot of stuff I didn't, that I held back on. And I held back because I didn't have the confidence, and I kept digging in and getting more information and getting more information and getting more information, a thing called the thinking loop. And then I finally decided it was actually September 20th this year. I finally decided to dig a line in the sand, and I said, "No more. No more. That's it. You need to have integrity with yourself. You need to dig your toes in and knock it off." And so I made a date on September 20th. Now, why September 20th? September 20th, because I knew October 30th, I think it was. We don't remember what the actual date was, but I think it was the 30th. I was going to be speaking at EXP. Andre, I don't remember what date it was. Is October 30th? No, the 27th. That's what it was. It was October 27th. October 27th, I was going to be on stage at EXP speaking. And I did not want to go on stage chunky. I did not want to do it. And also, how do I go on stage and point my finger and go, "You need to do this," if I'm not doing it? Right? I can't do it because that makes me some level of a hypocrite. So on September 20th, I said, "No more. If you say you're really going to do this, you're flipping going to do it. I don't care." So I dug a huge line in the sand. Now, that was the beginning of kind of the process through of what I went through sort of to do it. I had a goal. My goal was to lose 25 pounds before I went on stage. I lost my 25 pounds. I did it in 5 weeks. Right? And I did it healthy also. I didn't do any starvation thing because God knows I can't do that. But I dug a line in the sand. And then as I was walking through this process of what this really meant to have integrity in my life and to do the things I said I was going to do, which for me, in my case, was cut out sugar, cut out the alcohol, which I never drank that much, but I did have a drink if I was out with my friends. Sometimes I might have 2 old fashions, cut that out of my life, and cut out the bad grains out of my life. The whatever, Hostess, Twinkie, God knows whatever that crap is, right? Cut that stuff out and eat really, really healthy. And as I would be facing, like, I don't know, a Krispy Kreme or whatever, it'd be like, no, I said I wasn't going to do that until after I got on stage. I have to hit my goal, put the thing down, have some of that. So I went through that process. And then as I was sitting on the couch one day, and for some light reading, I decided to dig into Dante's 9 levels of hell from Dante's Inferno. Now, I know that sounds weird, but I saw something and I thought, that's really interesting. I want to know what Dante's 9 levels of hell are and what they and why. And I'm not going to go through all 9 levels here. I'll just tell you that it starts off with flirting with the issue. Like, I can do that. Like everybody else, they trip on it and they fall, but not me, I won't. It starts with that flirting thing. And then it progresses down. The last layer of Dante's, promise you I have a point to this. The last layer of Dante's 9 levels of hell is betrayal. And I thought, well, hang on, that's interesting. Why betrayal? It has all these other ones in here, lust, gluttony, fraud, everything else. But the very last one's betrayal. And I really thought about this. Betrayal is when somebody that you think loves you or has your best interests at heart doesn't, and they use you for their own means, right? So that's what betrayal is. Betrayal breaks trust. Right? When you're betrayed, you lose. If someone betrays you, like, trust is gone. It's gone. And without trust, there's no relationship. You can't have a relationship without trust. And we instinctually know this. And I've seen it so many times. So I've known a bunch of couples where one person has had an affair on the other. And the person that's had the affair, they can confess, they're contrite, they can go through counseling, all of that. But I almost always hear that party, not always, but almost always that party after a period of time will say to the other party, the one that the one that had the affair will say to the one that was betrayed, the betrayer will say to the betrayed, can't you just move on? Can't you forgive? Can't we get going again? No, because you broke trust into 100 million pieces. And it takes a while to get you even back to ground zero to hopefully build something new again. And we all know this, that when you break trust, you break relationship, and it doesn't start back. We think it should start back at ground zero again. Well, just like ground zero. No, it's 100 million pieces that are broken, shattered everywhere. And if you're really, really, really lucky and you try really, 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 really hard, you can build back to something that's different, because it can't be the same or it'll break again. And then it struck me that if I say I'm not going to eat the donut and I eat the donut anyway, then I have betrayed myself. And if I betray myself, I break my own trust. And if I break my own trust, how am I supposed to have a relationship? And what I didn't realize until I walked through the process and I kept my integrity and kept my word to myself, that was my confidence. Because all confidence is, confideli, the original word means with faith. All confidence is being able to say something like, I'm going to do this, and then knowing that you can do it. That's all confidence is. I know I can do that. Well, if I have integrity and I say something, I know I'm going to do it. That's my confidence. Those two things go right in there together. So the third component.
Steel company. Oh, okay.
Okay.
What is this?
The third component of this
Chiropractor. Isn't that weird?
There you go. The third component of this is integrity. Do you have integrity with yourself? And I'm sure we all know an area of our life that is like, I don't there. And if you have that somewhere, it doesn't matter how small it is. If you have it, draw that line in the sand and say, no more. No more. I'm going to have integrity in this one little tiny thing. For me, it was my sugar. It was literally my sugar intake was where I needed to draw the line for integrity. And then after doing that from September 20th all the way through to the end of the year, this year, one of my things is that I will have integrity in all things. So if I say I'm going to do the dishes, which to be really honest, I hate doing, I hate doing dishes. I hate them. But if I say, yeah, you too, Pia. If I say I'm going to do it, there's a lot of times when I'm like, I'll do dishes. Don't worry about it. And then I get up really early the next morning. I don't do them that night. I do them really early the next morning before anybody else is up. But I said I was going to do it at night and I didn't. So it doesn't, that's not integrity. It's just not. So either shut up and don't say you're going to do the dang dishes, or say, look, I will get to them, just not now. Right. Or flip and do the dishes. Right. And just do them. It doesn't even take very long to do the dishes. It's what, 10 minutes? I mean, whoop-de-doo, right? It does not take very long. So my third one is, do you have integrity with yourself? So logic, track and know your numbers this year. Pick something simple and go for it. And if the goal is too big, like the goal is, I can't climb Mount Everest, but if the goal is so big that there's like, I just give up and I go, I can't do any of it, move the goal closer to you. Okay, maybe I can't climb Mount Everest, but I can't speak right now, but I climb Mission Peak, which is in the San Francisco Bay Area. So I can climb that. All right, fine. Then that's the goal I can go after. I can go climb that. And if I can't climb Mission Peak because I'm so out of shape, all right, can I climb Mount Dora? I think it's like 62 feet. Or can I just walk around the block? I don't care, but keep getting that goal. If that goal is too big and you tried it and you want to just give up on it, move the goal closer. And if it's so big and you're not making any steps, make the goal this big. So I'm going to use working out as an example. If it's just too much and you're like, rather than saying, I'm going to work out 4 days a week and I'm going to go lift, and deadlift, however many pounds, and you're not going to do any of it, make the goal one push-up, just one. Because studies show that if it's so ridiculously small that you're like, I can't not do it. It's one push-up, right? I can't not do it. You'll get on the ground and you'll probably do more than one. You'll do 3 or 10 or whatever it is you'll do. But you'll release endorphins because you will have hit the goal. And the next day it's like, I can do 2 push-ups today. Today I can do 2. So if there's a point in your life where you do big, huge goals that are out there and they motivate you because they're big and you make incremental steps to do it. And there's sometimes some goals in your life where that's not going to work for you. Make it the tiniest goal humanly possible. But set your goal and then track that. Track that. So if it's phone calls that you're making or open houses that you're doing or networking events that you're going to, track it. I went to a networking event. I put 5 new people in my database, and out of that, I have an appointment. Cool. Okay. So every time I go on an appointment, 50% of those I close. Cool. I need to make sure that I go to 3 networking events a week and then find them and go to them, right? Whatever it is, track and know your numbers. So big goals, little goals, track them. Overestimate what it is that you're going to need to a degree to make sure that you're taking into account if something happens to your roof, the college, the kids, your sickness, the dog vet that broke the flat tire, whatever it is that, car breaking down, whatever. The big, huge goals on the big goal. It's cool to share with somebody that you really, really trust and know if you're very, very careful about who you're sharing with. But if the person is going to tear it down or poo-poo it or do whatever, don't share maybe with that person, right? But if you've got a significant other person that's really important in your life that needs to come in, great. But know that you're releasing endorphins. Just know that about the process as you're sharing that. Okay. And it's not really a thing that I share with accountability partners. I keep that part quiet. We share the little parts of it. So big, huge logic, track it. Shh, don't be telling other people. If you blow it, get back on the damn horse next day. It's a horse. He's okay. He'll live. Get back on him. Second is use emotion. So have your enemies. Pick out a couple of enemies that you may love with all your dear heart. You just don't want to live your life like that. So they inspire you in some way emotionally. So you need logic, throw your emotion in with it. And then the third one is integrity. is really look at your life and look at something, because all of us, we're human beings, we're failing somewhere in our life, or we're not holding ourselves to the standard that we want for our own lives, to something. There is something in your life. Pick it and draw your line in the sand and grab integrity around it. There's this really cool thing that when you change one little component, my husband just started working out with me. He's gone on like, I don't know, 8 or 10 workouts now. And he told me the other day, he goes, no, I just really feel like I should be doing more work in the movie industry again. That's the industry I came from. And I really feel like that. And I just don't know. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not worried about it. And he goes, why? I'm like, because every single time you ever talk to anybody that's wildly successful, 99% of the time, they started with their exercise and their health, and they got that component under control. And then that parlays into a bunch of other things in your life because you feel better and mentally your brain works better. So you're making the right steps. You keep on doing what it is you're doing. Whatever happens will happen. You'll get to wherever it is you decide you want to go. So the last one is that, and then your integrity, and from your integrity comes your confidence. All right. So I want to open this up because that's a lot of talking on my end, and I have covered officially my piece of paper I wanted to talk about. I just want to open it up to you guys now. Thoughts, ideas, she's crazy, it's nuts, I don't care, whatever. What do you guys got?
Hi, I just want to take a moment to thank you for watching a recording of the Monday Night Live class. Hope you're getting a lot out of it. I'm sure you will. I wanted to let you know that, you can come to Monday Night Live whenever you want, but you can also participate more with the team. Why don't you set up a call with me, a one-on-one strategy call? I can go over everything with you, show you everything that we have to offer. For example, did you know that on our team, not only do you get your leads, we actually give you your own account on our lead gen system. So this puts you in control. You're not waiting on somebody to hand you leads. You get to pick the ones you want. Okay. Huge difference. We have 21 of our own proprietary marketing campaigns. They're all copyright protected. We're the only ones that can use them. Okay. The coaching is absolutely one-on-one. We got 3 coaches. We even have a 4th success coach that we have access to. Okay. One of left fewer than 100 in the world. Okay. One-on-one coaching. Right now the big problem is volume. We need more transactions. We need more inventory. I get it. Well, we know how to get it. Our team actually outproduces the national average by more than 2 to 1. So if you're struggling, don't do that anymore. If you're a solo agent, if you're a team, let's just talk. Smart entrepreneurs are always open to discussion. Learn what we have to offer, and then you can make an informed decision about staying where you are or moving on. You've got to decide, if you're not where you want to be, you've got to take action to get where you want to be. Let's see how we can help you do that. I look forward to talking to you. Click on the link, set up a call. And by the way, I'll see you on the next Monday Night Live.
This is where you
I love it.
So
the whole integrity thing about yourself, that's pretty good because you'll not let someone else down because you said I'm going to do it. You're going to damn do it. That's my personality. But I'll sometimes I don't feel like doing it, so I'm not going to do it. So I like, that whole integrity part of, well, you're not being, integrity with yourself, and you think about it that way, then it'll get you off your butt to do what you got to do. I like it.
Yeah, it's made a huge difference in my life. It really has. Thanks so much, Andre, too, for that. And I'm kind of shocked because Andre works out like crazy and accomplishes all kinds of things. So it's interesting to hear it from you too, But when I was up on stage, I had massive confidence. I really did. And I felt like I wasn't being a hypocrite because I'm holding myself accountable to everything too. So if I'm holding myself accountable, then I could stand up there and say, you need to do this. You really do. You have expectations about your life. You need to hit them. So thank you on that one. I was listening to a guy, Patrick David, was listening to him talk. And it wasn't until he said, I do what I say I'm going to do, and there is my confidence, that's when I started to really key those 2 components in. It was like, oh my gosh, that is it. That is it. Because all it is with faith, is saying something with faith and then doing it, So who else has got something?
Yeah, that was really powerful. That do you have integrity? and breaking out of the thinking loop, because sometimes I know for myself, I love learning. And I can just, and just get caught up with it where I'm not even implementing it. And a lot of the things that I am learning are great ideas and I'm gonna do it, but then it doesn't happen. And then that goes back to that whole integrity thing, doing what you said you wanted to do and holding yourself accountable. And I like how you phrase it, like you're breaking trust with yourself. So how do you rebuild that trust with yourself? And it makes sense to give yourself these small manageable goals, because those small wins really make a difference. And I look at it as like force factors, force motion, and that can snowball and turn into, you accomplishing more and setting more goals for yourself, and really moving the needle forward and getting yourself to where you need to be. And I liked how you talked about how exercise, because for me, like I start, stop, start, stop. And I've always felt like, for if I can stay consistent on my exercise regimen, getting up in the morning and, doing the work and, continuing on with my day, I know in the past it's really made a difference. And so for me, when you said that, I was like, that's it right there. I gotta get back in the gym and really being consistent with that. And I know that that is going to be like a key that unlocks all my other goals as well. So
I love that. You just reminded me of something. Thanks so much, Kendra. You just reminded me of something. I, when I first said I was going to start exercising, this is like 100 years ago, I realized because I set a resolution one year that, exercise, that's it, right? And then I was like, okay, so I don't feel like it today. And then the next day I was like, oh, I don't feel like it today. And I kept waiting. This is so stupid. I kept waiting to feel like it. And then a year went by and I'm like, oh my God, you're never going to feel like it. Like I never was going to feel like it.
yeah.
So that's the first part. And then the second part is I got really honest with myself. Oh gosh, 2021 maybe, after it was after COVID, because I got COVID really early. So 2020 I got COVID before they knew any people, it was scary as hell to get it back then. So Greg and I both got it. And finally decided to start working out after that because I couldn't kick it. So I was like, well, I'm going to go work out because that's the only thing I can think of to do to get through this, right? But I also know me, and I knew that I would never stick with it on my own. I know me. I had a whole history of 50 at that point, 7 years of not sticking with it. And so I went and got a trainer, and the studio that I go to, you only work out with a trainer and it's scheduled. You're there with the trainer. That's it. It's a very small group with a highly specialized trainer. And I'll be really honest with you. I could go to a gym that doesn't cost very much money. This is stupid expensive. And I do not like writing that check every year. I mean, I really don't. And I know I won't go do it on my own. I just won't. I suck at that. So this forces me, because there's another person in there that can't let the trainer down, can't make an appointment. They get pissed if you cancel your appointments at the last minute. Like you're paying for it anyway if it's the last minute.
Yeah, you don't want to waste your money.
Exactly. So it makes me go in, and it took me, so I've been working out there now for 3 years now? It's probably 3 years. And I love it now, but it took a good 2 years to get me to like it. It took a long time. I'm a slow, hard learner, man.
I still don't like it. I don't like going to the gym at all.
Yeah, I don't
know.
It's no fun. I don't really enjoy it at all.
I love my studio.
Because I don't want to die and or not be able to walk around and play with my kids and grandkids someday. So I do it for the long term.
Yep.
When you're done with it, then you feel good that you did it.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Forward. So that's why I do it first thing in the morning, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. No excuses. You just do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't care. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it anyway.
That's really that's really pressing in, doing the things that you don't want to do, but if you know that if you do it, it's gonna really make you feel so much better, and like I said, it's gonna move the needle forward.
Those things you gotta reach those goals, whatever those goals are. Well, you want to sell 50 houses this year, or if you want to have 100 people in your organization this year, or if you want to lose 3 pounds. It doesn't matter what the goal is, but there's a lot of sucky things you got to do to hit the goal, and
Amen to that.
are important. Not liking some of the stuff or
Yeah.
hitting the goal. So you just do stuff that you got to do to reach the goal. It's not rocket science. It's just
Nope.
you don't have to like what you do.
No,
You have to like what you're gonna get at the end of what you do. The long life, the money in your pocket, in your bank account, your relationships with the family, whatever it is, and that's what you look at. So, you think about getting up in the morning. I don't feel like it. Well, too bad. Suck it up, Buttercup, and go, because you got to hit the goals, and you just do it.
That's
I
right.
love what you guys are talking about here. So you guys want to know what goes on in your brain with this whole concept of doing the stuff you don't want to do. There's this section. I'm just going to assume you guys are saying yes, because I have it on speaker view. I can't see. There's a section of your brain. It's right up in here. And it is the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. So AMCX, I think, or something like that. Anyway, anterior mid-cingulate cortex. And this section right up in here in the middle of your brain it's where willpower lies. And what they have discovered is that when you do something that you do not want to do, so Andre does not want to exercise and he goes and does it anyway. So you are actually building this section of your brain up here, which I now love it. So I'm not getting this part built anymore. Now, here's the cool thing with this section that you're building up in here. It only builds when you do things that you don't want to do. Athletes, huge. All those, massive athletes have this thing huge up in here. What it does, because willpower lies in that section, is you build it up almost like a muscle. And when you do, you have more resilience, you have more resilience, you have more willpower. You also live longer when that part of your brain is exercised on a regular basis. So doing the things that are good for you that you do not want to do, and that's the key. I don't want to do it, and I do it anyway. Builds up that muscle, and it actually makes it easier the next time, because just like Andre said, it's just something you have to do. So don't like it, doesn't matter. But this is now strong enough. This part of the brain is now strong enough to go, it doesn't really matter if I like it or not. This is what I do. So Andre, yours is like huge. Mine built for 2 years and then was like, yeah.
Gina, what a great teaching on integrity. And I'm going to say something you've probably heard. You have integrity when you still do the right thing, even though nobody else will know.
Yeah.
When it's just you.
Yeah.
And you still do the right thing. And Andre, I also go to the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday, first thing in the morning. But I found that, like what you said, you have to put that on your schedule and build the rest of your schedule around your trips to the gym. Otherwise, there will always be enough things that fill in that give you the excuse to not go.
Yeah.
They're always going to be there. And so you have to decide that it's a priority and build the rest of your schedule. Don't take appointments at the time that you're supposed to be going to the gym. Otherwise it'll just get away from you. And I don't know how long you normally have this go on. This is obviously my first time on this, and I will tell you, I'm maybe the only one here who is not a realtor. I am here at Gary's invitation because I'm going to be doing the teaching 3 weeks from tonight. I'm in Erie, Pennsylvania. This month is my 47th year as a landlord, and I have a best-selling book out on rental property investing called Build Real Estate Wealth, Enjoy the Journey of Rental Property Investing. And one of my friends here locally, you guys may know. Does anybody remember Joe Herbert
Mhm.
being
Yeah,
on?
I know that name.
as a teacher?
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
and he sometimes attends. Joe's also here in Erie, and he was somebody who is quoted a number of times in my book. And he made the connection for me with Gary. And when I talked to Gary, he asked me to do this teaching 3 weeks from tonight, and I guess be on his podcast at some point as well. So what I'm going to be teaching on is something that might be very useful to you as realtors if you care to work with investors, expand your clientele to work with investors, because I'm going to be talking about hard money lending. In addition to being a landlord myself, I also have been flipping houses since before it was a real estate term, before the TV shows that made it a term.
Mhm.
We used to call it quick turn, like Ron LeGrand calls it. And about 6 years ago, I became a hard money lender as well too. So I fund the deals to the other investors in our area. So this will be about how you can, make a sale to an investor that needs to buy a place for all cash, which is essentially still what you're doing whenever you use a hard money loan to fund your deal. So I'll be talking about that. And if we finish that and have any time left, I'll be talking about the ins and outs of house flipping, ins and outs and nuts and bolts of house flipping.
Oh,
And
awesome.
Cool.
Thanks.
so,
Will. Yeah.
and in the meantime, just right before I went on that vacation I was telling you about out west, I signed with a podcast booking agency, and I'll be doing 4 podcasts a month for about a year to promote the book, and maybe some of you might run across. I don't know which ones they'll be.
Cool.
I haven't, gotten,
That's the leader.
they haven't booked me yet. I hope they do their job. But it's so this is the beginning of a whole bunch of webinars and podcasts and other sorts of things like that I'm doing in connection with the book promotion.
Awesome.
Well,
Thanks so much, Joel.
congratulations.
Yeah,
Thank
huge
you.
congratulations. You said something at the beginning of this. You said decide. You have to just decide to do it.
Yeah.
Put on your calendar. And I really like that also because decide in Latin means to cut off. And that means when it goes on your calendar, Andre, you cut everything else off. Because I got to tell you, if I don't want to do something and anything interrupts it, I will just jump on it. Even if I don't really like the phone rings and I don't really even want to talk to that person, it's like, oh, yeah, don't have to do the thing I want to do. Don't want to do. And I was, oh, can't do it. We thwart ourselves. It's so interesting. When you ask most people, why, if you didn't accomplish your goal last year, if you didn't keep your resolution, what got in the way? What was the biggest obstacle? Something like 92% of the people will do this. It's myself. I was the thing. I was it. Because I decided and then didn't do it because I didn't really cut stuff off. I kept letting everything else get into the way. There's a 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He talks about the 4 quadrants of time of important and urgent. So 2 axes. One is the important, not important, and these are urgent, not urgent. And things like exercise and lead generation and your relationships that are the ones that matter to you that you want to make sure that they stay strong. Those are things that are extraordinarily important. They're not urgent most of the time. They're not urgent. If I don't exercise today, if I don't lead generate today, no one's really going to know. I mean, if I don't do it every single day, it'll get urgent, but no one's going to know if I slip up one day and don't do it. But over time, it creates a fire. And people who don't take care of those components of their life, the things that are important but not urgent, exercise, lead generation, those kinds of things, if they don't take care of those, they end up living in the quadrant where everything is urgent and everything's on fire because you let it get on fire. Now, this is not, stuff happens, boulder falls out of the sky, we get stuff like that. This is just, I'm not taking control or care of the daily things in my life. If I don't ever exercise or ever do anything, well, my bones will be really brittle and they'll break really, really easy. Or I'll be really, really sick with, some sort of disease, God knows what, right? If I don't ever regenerate, then I'm not going to have any business. I'm now living in the urgent place where it's massively important and massively urgent. But people who live there and spend a lot of the portion of their time there, what happens is they get exhausted because everything's on fire. And so they get exhausted and they run down to the other quadrant, which is basically vacation quadrant, where nothing's important and nothing's urgent, and just to get your breath. And then when they catch their breath, in the meantime, 10 things have gone on fire. So they got to run back up to that quadrant again and go take care of the things that are on fire. If you live most of your life in the place of things that are important but not urgent, like exercise, like lead generation, like anything in your life will have a section of something that you could be doing towards that. Relationship with my husband, when I first married him, what I learned is if he's talking to me, I can't be doing this because he doesn't feel loved. If I just do that and put my phone down and I give him this, then that means he feels loved. And my relationship is we have a great relationship because he feels very loved, because I take care of the thing that's very important, but not urgent. It's not urgent for me to put down the phone. It's very important that I do that though. So there's something in any given arena of your life, financial, relational, business, entrepreneurial, religion, spiritual, whatever your different components of your life, there's something in there that's very, very important, but it's not urgent. And if you spend that has to go on your calendar first, and the rest of your life has to be built in around those things, period, or else your life's on fire all the time. So that was a very good one. That word decided was a good one. So does anyone else have anything else? And I also want to be respectful of your time because it's a little bit after 8 o'clock. But if anyone else has anything else, I'd love to keep the conversation going. And if you have to go, I totally respect that as well. Just feel free to go.
Well, I hope to see all of you guys in about 3 weeks from now. I'm going to get going at this point, but I really enjoyed this. And in the meantime, if you want to check out the book or anything, it's just go to joelmillerbooks.com. That's it.
Awesome.
joelmillerbooks.com.
Thank you so much, Joel. We'll see you in 3
Thanks,
weeks.
Joel.
Look forward to seeing you guys then.
We'll see you in 3 weeks. All right. Thank you. Shastine wants to know what weight loss routine you did. Shastine, I gave up sugar and I gave up alcohol, and I didn't give them up for forever. I just gave them up for that period of time. And then I did what you're supposed to do, which is meat, veggies, protein, fruit. If I was jonesing really bad for sugar, I ate like a date or a fig or something like that to kind of get it under control. And then I set dates. Like I said, after I talk on stage on the 27th, on the 28th, I think it was really the 29th, I'm going to eat whatever the hell I want for a dang day. And I did. And it was that conference, and I had I really enjoyed myself. And then the rest of the time I went back into it again. And it's like, for me, it was a holiday, it's not a holiday week or a holiday month. It's a holiday. Although for the week between Christmas and New Year's, I think it was 7 or 8 days there. So I'm going to enjoy whatever it is I want to. And so I'm not so strict that it's like, no sugar ever, because it's not sustainable for me. And I do like to have a glass of wine with dinner on occasion. And I like to, when I go out with my girlfriends, have an old fashioned or whatever. I do like that. So, but I decide ahead of time that this day, like we just went and did high tea last Saturday, I think. We went and did high tea, and I'm like, oh, I'm doing high tea. And we did. There was, I think, 7 of us ladies that all did high tea, and we had a ball. We were there most of the dang day. So that's what I did, the way you're supposed to. And then I work out like heavy weights, circuit training kind of a thing is what I do on that end of it.
Thank you for watching this episode of Monday Night Live. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and go to realestatewithgarywilson.com to join our community and start building wealth today.